Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's the first week in 2020. We want to welcome you to a new podcast called Convos Create Change. On our podcast, we want to introduce you to different conversations about things that are going on in our community. I'm your host, Scotty Smart. These are my co-hosts. To my right, we have PT Duval, and to my left, we have my brother Easy. We're going to see a lot of these three faces coming in 2020, and we have a lot of great content we want to bring to you. One of the biggest topics that we have going on right now is the war that Trump just sparked off just the second day into the year. So if you've been hiding under a rock and you haven't been on social media at all, just to give you a recap of what's going on, Donald Trump assassinated the second highest ranking official in the Iran government. He did not take into consideration Congress, which usually you have to do as a president to make this happen, but you can make an executive order to go ahead and move forward. But with this act of war, Iran has responded by raising a red flag over the tallest mosque in Iran, and it signifies that there will be a great war ahead and a great battle ahead with the Americans. Now, the guy who was killed was not just a regular person. Like I said, he was the second highest ranking official in the Iran government. So we want to address how this affects the citizens, how it affects Trump's impeachment, because a lot of people are saying it's a delay on his impeachment process, but we want to have these conversations that aren't being taken place, that everyone's gossiping about, but we want to create some good content for you guys. So we also want to jump into it. Now, PT being my brother, he actually was in the military at one point in time, and so we want to address that. How do you feel like this affects those people that have to go to war now that had nothing to do with his decision?
Well, first and foremost, we can start off by saying this. When you have a situation when you're 18 and you're graduating high school and you have no other choices, like myself, I had a choice which was only military, street, nothing else. So knowing how I had to conduct myself, I had to figure out going to the military. But the only real reason for me going to the military was only for some money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So definitely. It wasn't really like I had a choice. I just wanted $55,000 that they guaranteed. Other than that, I would have never took the opportunity to take that ride and fight for this country. But now that I see that he look, it affects us more so that he looks as like it's only a body. It's not even about, what's really we're fighting for. His whole concept is truly like demonic to me. How he really changed. All right, so let me get it for real. I tell you what. Mm-hmm. I look at Trump like he's assassinating kids because now they don't even know any idea of why they're even going to fight for this war anyway. You know what I'm saying? This is something that was started here that was already in the process of happening. But now that that the kids are now of age, and it's going to affect more so that they have no idea what they're getting ready to fight for or even die for.
I think you really touched on a real significant key to this war situation. Like I said, with the soldiers that's going to war, a lot of people keep talking about the jokes and the memes about getting drafted. But a lot of people don't really understand that we've had a ton of kids sign up for this war, and it's because they don't have any other options, like you said. True. And a lot of people are like, well, this is what they signed up for, but when you're 18 years old and your options are getting kicked out the house, going to college, you don't feel like that's your point of view or your perspective on life, then you're in a position where you have to make a decision. Either get kicked out, go to the military, go to college. And unfortunately, black economics hasn't taken place, so we have too many other options. And so my biggest thing we'll hear a lot on this show is about economics and us creating opportunities for each other so that we can have better opportunities. Because, like you said, there's not a lot of situations that are telling you can make a certain amount of money in this time span, and now you're iffy about it. You're like, okay, we could potentially go to war, we could potentially not, but you're just going through the motions because now that's your career. That's the best option that you have at your disposal right then and there. So I think as we move forward, we have to really address black economics and actually address how we can create more job opportunities so that we don't have these disposable bodies that don't have anything else to turn to but to go and tin hut for your ass and don't have nothing better to do with their time. So I think that's the biggest thing is like, how do we create more fields, more opportunities for people to have a better platform and really engage in having better opportunities so they can get some money.
I feel like Trump is kind of making us personal bodyguards. Like, I feel like they're personal bodyguards just for him. Like, they put an $80 million bond on his head just just for Trump. So it isn't like it's a war against Americans and that country. It's more so it's like our president is like they know that we want to get him taken off your hands, basically. Like, and they're doing it by any means. They're putting bounties on even U.S. citizens to say, hey, we'll give you out $80 million if you can get to them. So it's a tricky situation, man. It's just sad that we got to experience it like this, and in our generation, social media is kind of our first news outlet to a lot of us. Like, a lot of people don't watch Channel 2 news or cut on the news all day. Like, that's just not something that we're doing.
I wonder if an American citizen goes after that $80 million, will he be able to get citizenship automatically in Iran? Because how the hell is you going to get out the country with this $80 million? You know what I mean? Also, a big thing, people saying, you know, Trump was recently impeached by the House of Representatives, excuse me, not Congress, but the House of Representatives. And what that means is that 217 people, the majority of the Congress, voted that he was aggressively using his power, which this would be another act of power, but they're saying that you cannot, more than likely, you can't impeach a president who's in the middle of a war. So this can be a tactic for him to stay in office as he gets ready to move forward as well. So I think one of the things about Convo Creates Change is we want to break down the dynamics and all aspects of the facts and how it affects our community to make sure that we get in tune with the good conversation, that we are educating ourselves on the process, but we also going to be having fun on here. We're going to have to be, you know, taking left routes, right routes. We're going to, you know, come on here. It's a place of comfort, no judgment. We want you to interact with the audience. We want people just to have a comfort zone, you know, roll a blunt, take a shot of Hennessy like I did right before we went live, you know what I mean? And just make sure that you are engaged and educate yourself about what's going on in the world around you. So yeah, we definitely want to engage in that. And I think, like I said, a lot of the citizens are joking about it, making funny memes about it, but we're not really realizing how it affects us, because could you imagine someone coming here and just setting off a bomb and killing the vice president? That's the significance of what's going on over there. And now, you know, we have this war on terrorism, but if you think about it, in their country, you know, we're the terrorists to them. Right. They had over 5 million people flood the streets for this man's funeral. That's unheard of. That 5 million people in one place at one time, feeling the death and mourning the death of one of your top-ranking officials. So I think we aren't as in tune with what's going on over there, and we're in our small little cocoon of what's going on in America. Right. And now we get fed certain information, and we're like, well, that's the bad guy, I guess, so we got to kill him. And I think that's more so to how we play political games in this country, and we got to understand how it really affects us. And it won't really affect us personally in our day-to-day lives, but things may rise. You know, I think that the main thing that they're after over there is the resources, and I think that they're trying to get the gas and the oil industry taking over. And so I think right now we might go through a spike in gas prices, because
it might affect us a little bit differently too, though. Okay. And another way is now you got to get ready to send kids over there to fight for a country that doesn't care for them. So it's a bigger picture. Like now, you know what I'm saying, the gas is, you know, the money is the root to all evil, but now we get ready to put our own people up pretty much to sacrifice for something they don't even understand.
And that's my thing, is like, how do you feel, or how do y'all feel as like black men who are, or just black people in general, because there are women soldiers that go over there and fight, how do y'all feel about them accepting that challenge of fighting for a country where I feel like this country definitely isn't fighting for us in our own communities?
In no shape or form is this country really fighting for us. In equality, we still live in a modern day slavery to this time. Regardless of what you do, as a black man, your options are lowered. Even if you have that college degree, even if you have that education at a Ivy League college, it doesn't really matter. Like, because now you have to take it to a white man's corporation and try to figure out a way to get a job that makes sense for you to have a stable life. Like, we've done the numbers on jobs that make $25 an hour or $50 an hour, and it still don't pan out to a lot of things that we're going to be able to attain as black people. So I feel like this war is kind of like, for us, if you want to look back into the history books, into the old 1700s, 1800s, where they had to draft black people and put them on the front line and be like, these are the first pawns that you kill before you get to the real root of the problem. It's kind of like they're just throwing us in the front and just saying, let's take the first hit.
And see, that's what I was trying to explain to you earlier about when you only reason really kids are going to a military in the United States is not to fight for their country. It's because you have no other choice. Either your choices is you either order here or you. That's it. It's slim because they play with our minds. Really, they'll tell you, okay, we're gonna give you 50. We'll give you 50,000 just to join the army. You know what I'm saying? So at a kid at 18 years old with $50,000, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna be here.
I thought about it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought about it.
I thought about it and I did the shit.
I thought about it. It was funny because I had a pops that was in the military. He served and did his thing, but he was even one of the people who's like, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? But you get to a crossroad where you're 18, 19 years old. You're like, man, this college thing really ain't for me, man. I really ain't trying to be in these streets, but that's really my only option. So what do I do? You know what I mean? And I think we hit a crossroad, and I think you touched on it. It's about our resources, and like we don't have the resources to be bigger players within our economy. And I think the biggest thing we have to talk about is the systematic oppression, the way that this is a system of as a revolving door for us to go within and out in a circle of keep doing the same thing. Like a lot of people, even when they get in a position of power and have money and have resources, they always give their money to schools and colleges. But what I think is that you should take that money and invest in people's business ideas because businesses create job opportunities. And if you can hire your own people, then you move in a different economic standard where we don't actually need you. Like if I have a cousin that get out of jail right now and he looking for a job, more than likely if he got a felony on his record, he can't get a job. So therefore, he gonna revert back to what he been doing. But if I got, oh man, I got a lawn care business, you know what I'm saying, come cut some grass, you can make $20, $30 an hour, then you might be a little bit better off, you know what I'm saying? So I think the answer to most of our problems would be creating more jobs. And for the people who are in positions, like say for instance, like I'm a huge advocate for what LeBron James does off the court, you know what I'm saying, with the I Promise school, and he also has a feature in that school where you allow kids to go to college for free as well. But once they go to college, what is their next step in transition? Now you're still back looking for a job within a corporate America that doesn't want to hire your ass. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's the big thing that we have to look at is we're looking for them for opportunities for us to be successful. And until we can control, that was the word I was looking for, control our own opportunities, then we handcuff ourselves with opportunities and we're relying on somebody else to feed us. Right. And I think that's our biggest issue.
So to create jobs within, basically.
Right, like within, but it has to come from the people higher up who have economics already. So you have those millionaires and they have a lot of resources. Right. So I think what their suggestion would be to create a grant system where you invest $100,000 into this business and you give them a business plan. You set them up for generational wealth.
Right.
We're talking about generational wealth at this point. So where you set each other up to be productive and have families where I can hire my people. Like I can hire who I want to hire. Like if you look at every other economic structure or economic region or a race or a culture, they come to America and thrive well because they're not looking for white America to accept them. True. They'll sit in this corner. Right. The Chinese, they hire Chinese, they have a whole community. And then what they do is they recycle within the businesses. So if you're Asian, excuse me, I don't want to offend anybody. If you're Asian and you have a insurance, I remember I saw this at the car dealership. I used to work at the car dealership for like 5 years. And this lady lived in LaGrange, Georgia. And she bought a car. Her insurance agent was in Gwinnett. That's like an hour and a half difference in space. But when she gave me the car, I realized it was one of her own. So they spend with their own. We don't understand the power of black dollars. We don't recycle black money. So therefore, we have the biggest buying interest in America. Yeah. We spend over $1 trillion a year, but we don't own nothing. So we're giving our money, and we don't understand that the money is our power. And economics leads to political power as well, because then most of these people who are politicians, they're paid off. You know what I mean? They get campaign contributions, and that's how they thrive, and that's how they become successful. And so I think we have to understand the power of black dollars and spend it within each other, creating a system of a revolving door of, hey, my bruh, he got a car company. If I need my car fixed, I'm getting it from only him. Right. And I'm making his family and giving his family opportunity to grow. Hey, my bro over here, he a graphic designer. Anybody that need that done, and then we also get away from doing trades. We don't have When the last black dude you know in the 25 was a mechanic? Like, y'all know of a mechanic, you know what I'm saying? A plumber, electrician, all these labor jobs that are good for our community that allow us to create and work with our hands. Like, if you look into the housing market, the people that are doing the contracting work, they'll always have a job. But we aren't in those industries. We're not in the HVAC industry. We're not in the we're in the real estate industry, but we're waiting on someone to pay us instead of creating opportunities for ourselves. So we're always there with our hands out, like, hey, what can you do for us?
Well, you know, labor is one of the biggest slave mentality tricks that has been created by America, which is labor, which is we're gonna get all of your best workers. See, the thing about the black dollar, we have to get into a way where we love black people. Like, we don't love each other. We don't love each other enough to want to go work with this black person, to go want to do that. I feel like the white people will get into, okay, he's a good black guy. Let me get him over here on our side.
So many?
Yeah.
We're so fascinated with being accepted, though.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, and that's one of the things I was listening to the Clark Anderson interview on the Breakfast Club. It was a great interview. Everybody should really, really watch that.
Put me onto it.
But yeah, put all my boys onto it.
Tag that.
But what he was saying was that we want to be socially equal and not economically equal.
Right.
And so we wanted to just be a part of what they had going on. We wanted to be like, hey, the white people like me. You know what I'm saying? We cool over here. And so that's why you see so many people, when we get money, we run to the suburbs, we leave our community behind. And we're like, and I get a lot of riff from it because, you know, I'm a owner of a nonprofit organization called the Smart Foundation, and I stay in the hood. Like, I'm not leaving the hood. I feel like it's so much talent in our hood that doesn't get tapped, that if we can just provide them with better opportunities, then we can really take it to a different plane. If you can change the mindset and the thought process of those in the hood, you can change the world, because you can actually give them an economic base to where they want to make money. They want to do right. You know, everybody just want a little money. They want to be able to get their little nice Jordans. You know, we materialistic as hell. We want to look good, but we don't have the resources to live within these means. We don't have the degree that's going to give us the $100,000 job. That's just not something that everybody's doing. But we also have to have conversations about money. And I think, like I said, that Clark Anderson interview really opened to a lot of statistics, a lot of economic resources, and to say that when they went into the civil rights era, they were really fighting to just be a part of it.
Right.
And what he was saying was it dismantled our businesses where we had our own bus systems. And now, instead of wanting to ride the black buses, that's what we should have did, is, hey, let's make this black company rich as hell. Let's take them and take them to the next level.
I want to ride on the front of the
I want to ride on the white people bus and just be with them.
In the front.
And that
Just be a part of something.
you just want to be a part. And if you really look at our culture, we really just want to be a part of some shit. It's so hard to really be yourself as an individual and really just be able to accept that you're different. And like you said, love each other. We've been so socially inclined to want to be a part of something else that now we don't even have that village mentality anymore.
Right. It's social slavery. Like, it's so crazy when you really think about the plan that the white people did from jump. Like, it has lasted for over 300 years, that our mindset as black people, that we still can't overcome what they've done to us. Like, it's crazy, because generation after generation, a lot of people really won't talk about, you know, slave ships. When the first slave ship was called Jesus Christ. Religion is a whole nother topic, but you know, belief in religion can control your construction of your mind. It can really take over your life. My grandmother has been paying her pastor for the past 20 years more than she's paid anything. Like, she'll pay him his last dollar to just, I don't know.
I believe, yeah, we definitely want to touch on religion just yet. We're not going to get there. But I believe whatever you believe, you manifest. And I believe that all religions are centered around a higher power. Yeah. And so it's more similarities than differences, but it's divisive. So, you know what I'm saying? It's easy for you to point the finger now at, like, take the Iran situation. Now it's a religion against religion. Now it's Islam against Christianity.
Exactly.
And now you're looking at other people who, I feel like you can get a good message from any religion. I'm not really big on religion, but I will take a good message and conform that into how it relates to my life and how I can apply it. But I feel like you can get a good message from a Farrakhan. You can get a good message from T.D. Jakes. You can get a good message from anybody that embodies.
Well, let's just say these three individuals that's sitting behind us. Like, this
definitely get their messages.
He was a Muslim. You know, He had his religion, and even Biggie. Like, and we all have strong likings and mindsets to the music and to the messages that they were putting out. Even Malcolm X, like from a lot of our black leaders, were all different in religion, in a sense. They all believed in something different, but the message it all resonated to be the same.
I think, and that's the end goal. Like, we have to find a common ground where our collective progression is the means of everything. Like,
It has to start off so early, like in school, like as kids. It has to start
right, it's
off.
programming.
Yeah,
We're programmed. We're programmed to be divisive. We're programmed from the very beginning to be independent. So then if you get yours, you're like,
care about too
I
many
ain't
other
really
people."
goddamn. No, that ain't, our culture doesn't embrace each other. We have a negative, a deflective society where we don't even embrace each other. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult for us to embrace each other. So it's hard for us to really grow and say we want to work with each other and get money with each other and make each other rich. Like, that's that whole crabs in the barrel mindset. It's like, dang, bro, like, oh, like they said, they want you, your people probably want you to do good, but if you, once you start doing a little bit better than them, they ain't really cheering for you the same way. Now it's a competition in their minds that they have that you ain't really there.
What you think created that though?
What do I think created what? That mindset?
Yeah, that mindset there.
I think it's from slavery. You know what I'm saying? I think that's from slavery. I think if you look at how they constructed it to control our minds,
It was almost genius.
it's still going on, so it is genius. You know what I mean? And now I think it's more so the media, and I think what we do, they can create competition within us, and so, or they create comparisons. Oh, I'm better than you, and now we at odds with each other. Well, we can really, like, you ever look on, like, say the Shade Room for something like that, right? They'd be like, oh, this girl wore this outfit good, and she looked good in it too, but we gotta ask, who wore it better? And that's making you look like, well, why can't they both just be accepted as looking good? You know what I'm saying? So that's our mindset.
It's created.
We create competition through comparison.
When you see somebody in the club with your jacket on or with the same shoes, like real talk, you're like, oh, nah, he ain't rocking it like me. But it's gonna happen because in our culture it is competition. Like they said, if we're not dribbling a basketball, throwing a football, playing baseball, if we're not doing something that's like a sweat equity, we're not really getting true value. Like,
And even in those situations where they're making millions and millions of dollars, they're still not in control of the entity. They're not the owners. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any even majority owners in those positions. You know what I'm saying? You get your Michael Jordans and your Jay-Z's, but when you have a league like the NBA that's 70, 80% black, and you got one or two on, that doesn't really show the angle of what we have, the power that we hold. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like I said, it was going back to understanding the resources and the control of the power structure. And that's the biggest thing we don't really talk about and understand. Like, we be talking money, we be talking flexing, we be talking looking good, you know what I'm saying? But none of it really has any significant value on our culture. And I think we sidestep that a lot of times. It's just like, well, shit, he rich as fuck. And that's like, cool. All right, we can't take that from you, but if you even engage in a conversation to say, like, but what are you doing with it, then you can be significantly a hater at times. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even if you have a deflection or a different thought, then you look at like, bro, you just mad because you ain't got the shit. Nah, my nigga, you got a lot of potential, but if you knew how to place it in the right format, then we'll do a lot better with each other. And like you said, it's about us coming together, and I don't think we found that common ground. I think we keep getting tested with our unity. I think, like, within the last 5-6 years, this is more of like our civil rights era. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our 1960s, this is our Martin, Malcolm, but we don't have that.
The funny part is the only time we really come together is at a death.
I was just gonna say that too.
Somebody died, like Nipsey dying last year. That you could feel like the whole country was in one mourning period from the day he died to, I think his funeral was like 12 days later. It was a real deep sorrow type moment.
Everybody getting together.
But I even said that. I made a poster. I said, I wish living brought us together like death does.
Yes, it does. Even when Pac died, I still remember that. Like, I don't know if y'all was really around to see it, but it took a big effect on a lot of people. Like,
everybody got together then, though.
Death for us, and it's really death on certain people, because black people die all the time. Like, we die more than any race in the world. I feel like we die all the time, and I think we become so accustomed to it and adjusted to it. It's kind of like second nature. We see it on Instagram. There's really no filter to death anymore. Like death is. Like
I think
right
it's normalized.
Yeah.
It's very normal. It doesn't catch you off guard at all. It's something where you see it so much. And then I think even killing has been normalized. Like you have so many games where it teaches you how to, the Call of Duties, the Grand Theft Auto. Like in your mind, you're thinking this is okay. And some people can't differentiate that reality from going out often to go shoot a nigga. Like it's easy for us. We don't value our bodies. You know what I'm saying? We don't value each other. Damn near, and we don't value ourselves. So it's easy for us to kill another black person. I was saying the other day, it's so much stolen greatness within our communities. Like it's so many people that die young that never get to reach their full potential. Like could you imagine what just if Pac and Biggie were alive now, what they would be like 45, 50-ish?
Yeah.
50, you know what I'm saying? And what type of impact they would have had, even in their absence, they've had some type of impact.
True.
But
Positive impact as well.
But what would they have been able to do with their power? You know what I'm saying? They were the upper echelon of our community. They would have been able to open so many doors. And the negativity of our society allowed a dumbass beef, a dumbass riff about a bunch of nothing, and we weren't able to de-escalate it. It's like now, oh, you tried me, shit. you know how this got to go. You know what I'm saying? At some point in time, you realize, hey, man, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to end. So we have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like I said, it comes back to understanding the value within each other and understanding our mindsets, our appreciation for each other. And I think that relates back to appreciation within ourselves. And we really don't have a true value or a purpose of living. You know, a lot of people don't know their purpose. A lot of people are really to crash out, ready to kill somebody, ready to do 25 to life, because they ain't got shit to live for.
Let me ask y'all this, brothers. How do you feel about the generational gap of the mindset of black people from our mothers, our parents, from their parents? Like, how do we really teach the other generations that are still living but not really are current with things that are really going on? Like, technology is really a
game changer.
It's a real live game changer. And like, you have to be up on technology. I mean, I know my grandma really ain't looking at no iPhone or dealing with none of that, but it's kind of like if you're not with it, you're left behind.
Yeah, true.
I think within the last 50 years, there's been a huge separation within generations.
Yes.
A lot of things that weren't acceptable are acceptable now.
True.
We're in this space where
Sometime I'm in Atlanta. I'm just saying.
Well, I think because we I think because we in Atlanta, like
yeah, right. That's when we see it. Like I ain't gonna lie, I seen some wild shit the other day. I was like, bro, Atlanta's getting to the level of it's making me uncomfortable, and I'm just trying to be a regular heterosexual male. I'm like, bro, I'm outnumbered. I'm like, whoa, this is.
Well, it is
do y'all thing.
It's a problem in certain spaces to be straight. It's a problem, like, you know what I'm saying, to smack your girl on the booty. It's a problem.
But I think what's been accepted for our generational, as far as discipline, as far as how we raise our kids, I think like I remember when I was little, if I went to somebody's house and I spent the night, your mama could whoop my ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, my boy said pass that shit.
Oh, my bad.
Boy, passed it.
I'm talking about not yet, bro. Yeah.
Free tree promotion, man.
Hey, but to knock in on that, you know what it is too, though? Don't have any fathers in the homes. You know what I'm saying? That's a bigger picture too. Is like we don't have a lot now. Like straight up, ain't no pops around. You know, they kids right now. It's crazy.
Let me ask you, like,
I don't know, cause I hear that statistic, but when I see my people, I guess I'm only going.
You grew up with a pop.
I did.
Yeah,
He's definitely going to be on this show a couple times. He's going to bring in some of that Dr. Phil mental health. He is a mental health counselor, and he's one of the realest niggas I know. He probably come over here and smoke a blunt with us too. I don't know. It might not be professional what he need to be doing, but
well, I'm gonna bring a milk carton with a missing sign on mine for my pops. But he'll eventually see it, and then he'll come, and then we'll have that conversation for y'all.
But I think you're right though. That's the staple of a home. I think a lot of people don't understand. When we were just speaking about systematic oppression, how they took apart the black family structure. True. And I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not knocking nobody's lifestyle. Do what you do, love who you love. That's on you. But I think the power structure of male and female have been torn apart. Like, a lot of black men hate black women. a lot of black women hate black. It's so much hurt, it's so much dysfunction within our community that we haven't addressed. And we just walk around like it's all right. Like I said, this is a platform to have that conversation and to be able to say, you know what, we can address that pain, and how do we move forward from it? Like, where does that come from? Like, why do so many people say, oh, I just want a Spanish chick or exotic looking chick, where I feel like, you know, the brown skin, the melanin is the most beautiful thing in the world in my eyes, you know what I'm saying?
How many of our black influencers have white wives? Because I was thinking, I seen, one my boy made This Is America.
Shaba, what name?
I saw
Donald, you know the guy.
Donald Glover?
Donald Glover has a white wife.
From Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Eddie Murphy, just saw him on the
I saw Michael Ealy. I didn't know he had, him and Gary Owens were doing Gary Owen was doing
Michael
the joke.
Jordan.
Gary Owen got a white wife though, a black wife.
Yeah, Gary got a black wife, yeah.
Michael Jordan got a white wife.
Well, yeah, you do white.
Yeah, he got a white
Juanita
wife.
was black. Right?
He don't want Juanita.
Man, Juanita took his ass to the cleaners. Juanita said, I'm going to wait till you till you retire. I'm getting all of this pension you got going on here, player. But I think, what is that, like I said, when we get to the grassroots of it, why is that? Why do we see the black women or even black culture as inferior? And I think that comes back to, again, our mindset of what media portrays as what's good for us, what's pure, what's happy, and how we deflect that conversation, and we never really address those issues. You know what I mean? And I don't knock any of them if that's who they fell in love with. If that's the person who was with you when you went through your trenches and you didn't have shit and y'all grew together, I'm cool with that. She was there for you. Like the dude from Power, his wife ain't probably who you thought his wife would be.
It's a bigger problem though, cause they mama black, right?
Right.
So it's got to be a bigger problem.
Right. So is it a hate for black women in general?
I mean, in a lot of aspects, you know, we all know it's hard to deal with certain black women. Because, I mean, most of these people may not be combative. We just had a conversation the other day, like, and certain women, I'd be like, nah. Even when growing up, it was like, get you a red bone. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Or get you a light-skinned chick. Like
why was that? Yeah, I never understood that.
I don't know if it was like, we looked at it like, we know what a black girl gonna do. She gonna cuss you out, you know what I'm saying? Make slap you.
So those stereotypes we feed into.
Stereotypes we feed into. I feel like there are a lot of genius, cool, chill black women, but I think it's just a stereotype that got promoted and put out there a lot. And a lot of times, we gotta be honest, thoughts are raising babies.
Yes.
For real, bro. Like a girl with a swipe up page got three babies. You know what I'm saying? she got to eat. We're going back to opportunities. I mean, like it's all coming back around. These surgeries ain't cheap. And the surgery thing too. That's another topic we're gonna bring up too. Like the surgery thing is a deep
that's all mental health though. I feel like I think that's mental health. I feel like you feeling like you ain't good enough. I feel like that's all your mindset. Like anybody that feels like they have to transform their body to fit a certain look hasn't really fallen in love with themselves, and they can't really say they're in love with God or believe in God because they have that, oh, God doesn't make no mistakes. But you out here correcting yourself as if He made a mistake with you. So
stretch marks are beautiful.
Let me rub them things, man. Tiger stripe, man. Let me get, you know what I'm saying? All up in here, man. But I think it's a mindset, bro. It's really, and matter of fact, when we kicked off the year, I wanted to last year I did it my first time. I wanted to get a word that I thought would define my year. And so last year I picked together because I feel like there's a lot of people, again, working in similar spaces that aren't working together, and we can, as a collective, if we take egos, and it's a lot of people who want to say, oh, my name on this, my name on this. I don't care about none of that. As long as we get it done, I don't care if it's PT to starve it, if easy to starve, if it's smart to starve it. I don't care about it if we're collectively working together. I would really like to be in the background. You know what I'm saying?
I had a conversation with some radio personalities and some other DJs and hosts, and I've been doing this in Atlanta, my brothers know, for 10 plus years, like clubs all over. And I came from Alabama with no really handouts, worked with a lot of talented people, worked with a lot of people that put me in a lot of great positions. And I've always had a humble mindset, but they told me all the time, like, they ain't gonna get you nowhere. Like, you gotta come out and be arrogant. You gotta be like, nah, either cut the music and, you know what I'm saying, and say your name like 30 times. I've never been that type of guy. Some people have that, they do that, and it works for them. I feel like
That's a certain level of branding, though. That's what I was trying. That is kind of like the catchy, like, I think that gives you like a signature moment in your profession. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a little different, but I think a lot of times when we go and talk about working together, I think, like I said, with the word together, it's just not a concept that we really believe in. It's like we think we're inferior to each other. We're in competition with each other. So if he doing good, shit, I'm trying to do better than him, but I'm not trying to do better. I'm not trying to do better within each other. So this year, I was saying my word for this year would be mindset. And I think your mindset controls everything. You know what I'm saying? You can't change nothing about who you are, what you want to do, until you change how you think. And I think we have a negative mindset towards one another. And until we put that in a positive light, put a positive spin on what we think of each other, how we think of each other, then we're still in that same space of negativity.
I'll bid in on that with you. I'll take a word. I think my word for this year is going to be economics. I feel like that has really hit me differently more than anything. I think 2020 is more so about educating credit. Credit is huge. My brother, like, you know what I'm saying, even being around him for years, it showed me something different. Like, a lot of times your family becomes the people that you're around the most. It may not be a family member, but that's still, in a sense, your family, because these are the people that eat, sleep, and breathe with you every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mexicans, they'll put 10 of them in one house, but they'll all have $10,000 in their account. But we don't even want to live together now. It's like we'll go live at the 12 in a condo by ourselves, paying $1,700, $1,900 a month, and low-key struggling, but trying to show that I'm really not. I'm still, you're just paying for something that you're really not going to own. You're never going to own.
If black people did live like Mexicans, we'd be really, really, really rich.
Me and my pops was saying, if black people defend each other like the Republicans defended Trump,
Oh, man.
because you literally blatantly see this man fuck up all the time. They like, bro,
That's my dog, bro.
we ride with bro. That, like, no, win, lose, or draw, they are backing this man to the highest.
Do you think that people are scared to just say the word black, like I'm black, I'm with black people, like to go at it in the way where it's like, I'm so pro-black, I'm only dealing with black? I think that kind of...
I think definitely. I think people are. I think there's a way, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a market for it though, but I think people are, it's a sensitive culture. So, and it's so easy to go, the cancel culture where they always want to boycott you. Like, if you say the wrong thing about the wrong group of people,
right,
they going to be protesting you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they the biggest. They don't play about nobody. You know what I'm saying? They shut down. And everybody, I'm not apologizing. But my thing, even with that situation, is like, live your own life. That's what you want to do. I don't judge people off who they love and what they. It has no effect on me at all. So I'm cool with you. I rock with you.
Yeah, don't wear that animal print to the club, because Peter will be looking for you. No, that Gucci jacket that you got at the house. Don't wear that one, man. Because Peter is.
As long as you don't be disrespectful and try, nigga, that's all I'm on. Like, hey, bro, do that. Do what you do. Respect what you got going on. Just respect me as a man that I'm not doing that. I'm not, hey, you live a lifestyle, I live a lifestyle. As individuals, I respect what you do, and we just have a difference of opinion, and that's okay. That's part of life.
So, Smart, I want to pick from the topic box, man. We gotta throw one of our topics out there before we.
All right. Let me go back through.
One out the topic box.
One out the topic box. Okay, so where you want to go?
Number 7.
We got 7?
One,
you just pick the number?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
Topic of the day
was gun control.
Oh, that was good. That
kind of it blends in with the war theme.
Go ahead and ask that question.
All right.
You asked me fucking yesterday.
All right. Do we feel as if when you become an age, should everybody own a gun, regardless if you have a gun license or not? Should everybody own a gun in America?
Man, I'm strapped up out here. I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I feel like it's too many irrational-minded people that have guns, and therefore, I'm not out here looking for conflict. But if you bring some bullshit my way, I'm with all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even now you have people getting shot in church. Like, the only reason why the church killing didn't become more massive is because someone in the church had a gun to shoot the guy that had the gun. So he start busting in the middle of the service. He shoot 2 people, but a third person had a gun and shot him within 6 seconds. How many more people could he have shot if that person didn't have the gun to control that situation? You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. In the negative society that we have, there's a lot of crazy people with guns. And all I'm trying to do is make sure your crazy ass don't get out of line. Like, you got niggas shot at Walmart. Yes, I'm carrying my gun to Walmart. Fuck that. You got a nigga, like, you get people shot up at church. You get people shot, luckily, but you better hope they pat me down at the club. Because if they don't, I'm going back to the car and going to get my shit. I'm keeping it on me. I feel more comfortable. I feel safe within myself. Like, I don't trust nobody like that. And then you got so many people that don't have shit to lose that will rob your ass, that think shit sweet. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You just got to be on your head on a swivel at all times.
I think you create more conflict when you have a gun.
How, Sway? How?
Hold on.
How?
How long?
I'm not creating no conflicts. You wouldn't even know I have a gun on me right now.
How long, realistically, bro, have you owned a gun? Not legally or illegally. Just how long have you owned one? What age?
16.
16 years old. So a 16-year-old can kill some. You know that the temperament that your mind was in at 16 is way different than where your mind is at now. You might get mad at anything and be like, okay, I'm shooting.
That's why I say it create conflict.
Now, if you
don't, you don't supposed to have that many problems.
That's why it's illegal.
You have the motherfucker.
But that's why it's illegal at that point. But a lot of people who are criminals don't give a damn about having a legal gun, regardless. So therefore, I feel like if you're gonna do it legit, you're gonna have a legit gun that ain't hot, that ain't stolen, that ain't got no bodies on it, that's legitimate tied to you. You gonna be more
prone.
Not prone. You're gonna be more clear-minded on your decisions to use your gun. You know what I'm saying? The bullet's gonna be traced back to you. So I'm not just out here doing some dumb shit with my gun. I'm not just firing shots wherever the fuck and have the goddamn ballistics motherfuckers at my door. But like I said, if it gets to that point, I'm going to defend. If it's a me or you situation, it gotta be you. I got shit to live for. I got a purpose with my life. So I think if it's a me or you situation, and like especially right now with the sex trafficking, like I hope a lot of women go and get fucking guns and protect themselves. Like fuck that. Like
should women have guns?
Hell, my mama got a gun. Fuck that. Like my mama got a gun. Shit. Any girl I date, she probably got a gun. Like I want them to be secure at all times. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm not around, because they know I'm gonna shoot for them. But regardless.
And while we doing this gun segment, mention your man too. I can't think of his name, but you know.
Oh, Derek Grace? Man, y'all so lucky we recording today. He actually be in town tomorrow. But you know, my boy Derek Grace, the tatted mentor, one of the biggest gun advocates. Y'all probably seen him go viral with having his kids being able to break down and maneuver guns. But it's about us educating ourselves on guns. And I think the biggest thing about gun control is we're afraid of guns because we don't know shit about guns. I remember one time, bro, I think it was at your crib, where the gun was on the desk. It's just, why is the gun out? Like, it's just like I've had somebody I'm taking my gun off my waist, sitting on my dress, and the girl, why you pull your gun out on me? Like, shouted, I'm not even on that one. Like, it's a
Scotty trying to take something.
Hell no. One thing you ain't never gonna have to worry about. I'm telling you now. I'm never going down for no sexual assault. No time. Like. Oh, you wanna go there? Oh, okay. Cause but I ain't never going. Hell no. Like I don't even like girls being too drunk at this point in time. Like I need you to be coherent of what's going on. Cause you fuck around past. Oh, I don't remember what happened. I didn't consent to it. Hey, I'm going home, bro. I'm not losing everything I worked my ass off for. That's some dumb shit.
I got a real problem with drunk females. That's killing my spirit right now. It's killing my spirit.
And it's levels to that shit, ladies. Like it's levels. You can have a good time, but when you get to that possible throwing up, sloppy, you don't know what you're doing. You're not coherent. You need somebody to I know supposed to be falling asleep in their cars and shit. Like that's not attractive. Like that's not safe for one, especially with all this kidnapping shit going on. Somebody take advantage of your ass. Then you a hashtag.
I heard about a situation. The girl told me that she was in an Uber and she felt like the Uber was about to kidnap her because he cut off the navigation. Was like, oh, I know another route. She panicked. She instantly panicked. Like, oh my God, no! She was like trying to figure it out. She acted like she called the police and was like, I'm calling the police right now and telling them your tag. And he was like, why you doing that? And they pulled over. But in that situation, if she would have had a gun and just panicked and shot him, because
I feel like she should have got off. That's self-defense. This motherfucker locked me in. I would have used the number one line that police officers use in America.
Whoa.
I feared for my life. Whoa. I got scared.
That don't work for you, bro.
It does not work.
It may, in that situation. If a woman is feels she's trapped in the car, that's impulsive
black.
My GPS
black,
just went off. That's all it was.
black
No,
woman.
nigga, I can't see it on the app. The app says use your motherfucking GPS.
I know another way, man.
No, we gonna go the way that Siri. Hey Siri, navigate to, and that's how we gonna get there. But I think all that ties into it, like the gun control, everything really is a revolving door of conversations that we're not having, and I think we want to use our platform to make sure we address it. And moving forward, we're gonna touch on a lot of these topics. Like I love the Black economics is the biggest thing moving. 2020, this is a new decade. Black economics. Let's work together. Let's circulate black dollars. Let's buy black. Like, take for instance Nike. Nike is a fucking genius. You know why? Because they knew Colin Kaepernick would sell. Regardless of everybody's turmoil against him, they knew who their fan base was, and they knew how to sell sneakers, to sell jerseys. They got a fucking Emmy for that goddamn commercial. And so there's a market for it, even though your bottom line is your white shit. Down goes Frazier. But even though you have the situation with Trump and the protests and him being exiled out of football, you still have the opportunity for him to do business because he has a base that loves him, that will support and buy him. And that's the thing. We support each other. I don't think he's gotten the support that I would have liked because I'm big on it. But at the same time, to see him have a sneaker deal, to see him have a shoe with his face on the back of it, still shows that our economic buying power, but it's controlled by a white entity. But they were smart enough to play us.
Would you buy a gun from a black man? Would you buy a gun from a black
Like if he had a shop?
Yeah. Pawn shop.
Yeah. How many black men own pawn shops? Y'all know, can y'all find somebody that owns a pawn shop that's black?
Message.
I want to find a black pawn shop. I want to find a black gun club, shooting range.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To educate ourselves on gun control so that we're more comfortable, so we don't we can check and make sure the clip's taken out, make sure there's not one in the chamber. You know what I'm saying? Check on these things that we're educated about it. Yeah. Make sure some guns have safety, some don't. You know what I'm saying? Know what you're getting yourself into. So when you see a gun, it's not like, oh my God, it's a gun.
Right.
Right. Or you just panic, you're just getting scared for no reason.
You can't shoot yourself. It's happened a lot. Normal case. So even back to your man's, like he teaches his kids at a very young age on how to use guns, how to hold guns.
Definitely.
But it's a lot of parents that put guns in kids' hands that don't teach them nothing. And these guns, and we seen viral videos of little ghetto babies running around and put their hands on the gun and all type of situations.
Yeah, that's just the ignorance of some of these parents, though. Like, I think really when we get into that that conversation, we might not do in this episode because we're gonna get ready to wrap up in the next 10 minutes. But I think the big thing that we have to really take is accountability, you know what I'm saying, within parenting. Because we're talking about how young and how wild this new generation is. And it's parents that have to be within 35 to 45 years old that are giving them this, that are not disciplining them, that are thinking all this shit is cute, for them to go viral for doing ratchet shit, for having all them nasty ass teeth in their mouth. Right. Like, go take that little motherfucker to the dentist, bro. I don't want to see 18 silver caps in his mouth, bro. That's not cute, bro.
I think someone should start like a parenting class, really, though, especially for our culture. Like, I think that's something that is really missed and not really being promoted in the right way on really how to be a good parent, because it is something because it is something that you don't prepare for. Right. Like, it's something that you really can't learn about. It's kind of like you're thrown
just winging it. Yeah, you're winging it. And a lot of people were raised in dysfunctional situations, so they don't even know how to show love to a kid. They never were embraced in that atmosphere. They never saw the love from both their parents at the same time. Right. They probably had a lot of divorced homes or single parent homes, or the dad wasn't there, or the mom shitting on the dad because he ain't shit nigga, he done moved on. It's a lot of mental health issues that are deep rooted within our society that play into how people are. We never get into the perspective of their mindsets on what the fuck is going on with them. Right. And I think that's a big thing to touch on, is that, how parenting really affects our society. And there's a lot of parents that are doing fucked up shit that are really, and it's being accepted, or you can't really say nothing to them. They don't even want to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? That's our
probably didn't have parents
And that's true. Yeah. And that's true. But at what point can that stop being an excuse?
Yeah, because I look at the Chinese and the Japanese, like even when we look at all these like karate films, I just come to my mind, like they always had a strong construct on family, like, and what they taught them at a very young age about their culture, their beliefs, their way of life, their way of thinking. Like they taught these kids, especially Chinese, like they kept it intact, even to a sense where they kind of pointed them in a direction of where to marry.
Definitely.
Like, and who to marry. Like even when Jay-Z said it, like we got to keep the Carter money in the Carter family. Like your seed married my seed, his seed married his seed.
That's the empire.
Like, we pretty much the only kind don't have it together yet.
Pretty much. We are. We did.
But that's because our culture was stolen from us. And we were put into change and to adapt to their society, their culture. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, like I said, now it became a competition of who can be better to please masses. So then now you have a concept of competition within each other instead of a cultural that's saying we should grow together, we should work together, we should, make sure we can empower each other. There's no way that we couldn't make each other rich if we just spent with each other. True. We don't have to strategically announce a boycott, whatever. But we can make a conscious decision to say, hey, bruh, shit, we only shopping with you. You the person who got this product. You the man that mounted TVs. Come out my TV. You the man that work on the cars. You the man that build the houses. You know what I'm saying? We also have to put all these industries together and create more opportunities, because if we recycle the money, then that makes those businesses grow. True. So if you take the money structure and you put it into these local businesses, now they can hire more people. Now, I can't do the work as the CEO can't do all the operation. Now I can hire an assistant. Now I can hire a project manager. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you create generational wealth. And just not even generational wealth, but right now it's about creating more jobs for us and better opportunities so that we can revert back to why the initial conversation was, why these young men signed up for war.
Well, from now on, I'm getting Master P noodles. I ain't getting others.
Walmart,
you have lost my business. I'm getting all
Master P got some noodles?
What?
And he charged you $1 for them.
No, he charged 50 cents, bro.
50 cents for a pack of noodles?
No, for the cup of noodles. The cup of noodles.
Okay. So how much was it? 12? What, like a 6 pack or something?
At Walmart, you get them for 35 cents.
For what, Raymond?
Yeah. Or, the best kind is the roasted chicken. Roasted chicken, that's the only kind I like black people. But
bro, I like the shrimp one, bro. You can't say that. Man. The shrimp flavor one, bro, it's like, bro, they got seasoning, bro.
See, that's why.
And then you got to put like seasoned salt, a little hot sauce in there. You got to add your own little. You got to put some garlic and some
Scotty
onion
is
powder.
Puerto Rican, I'm telling you. Not black.
Look, you see these. You see the hair. Boy, you've been negative decline the last 30 years.
I'm straight.
But this is our first time really sitting down doing a live broadcast for Convos Creates Change. So we hit on a lot of different topics. You'll see, get familiar with these faces. We're going to be putting out a lot of content in 2020. We're going to do this on a weekly basis where we have weekly wrap-ups of weekly conversations, whatever's going viral, whatever we're talking about in the community. I'm Scotty Smart. I'm your host.
I'm Easy. You already know 100. Long live my brother Mazzy.
PT Duval already, brother.
And the podcast audio version will be available on eStream Live Podcast Network, where you'll be able to get your Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play. So we're coming at you on all angles. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be everywhere you can. We're going to be sending you links. So just dive in with us, and let's have a conversation and create change.